All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to unpack one of the most brilliant and most important battles in all of ancient history. It's a story of genius, incredible risk, and a single tactical masterpiece that would decide the fate of Rome itself. You see, this is the story of two of Rome's absolute greatest generals, Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. And get this, they were once allies, friends, even family through marriage. But by 48 BC, their rivalry had just exploded, throwing the entire Roman world into a brutal civil war. They were fighting for total control, and only one of them could walk away the master of Rome.
So how on earth did it come to this? It's really a classic story of ambition, power, and politics. Let's just quickly trace how they went from partners in power to mortal enemies. So for years, they had this shaky political alliance. But eventually, the Roman Senate, which was backing Pompey, ordered Caesar to disband his army. Caesar, well, he refused. He did something legendary. He crossed the Rubicon River with his army, which was a straight-up act of rebellion. And just like that, civil war. After a bunch of maneuvering and smaller fights, it all led them here, to this final epic showdown on the plains of Pharsalus in Greece.
Okay, so when these two armies finally face off, you gotta understand, it looked like Caesar was walking straight into a disaster. I mean, on paper, he didn't have a prayer, and here's why.
Just look at these numbers. Pompey had a gigantic army, outnumbering Caesar by more than 2-1. But that's not even the craziest part. The real story here is the cavalry. Pompey had a staggering 7,000 horsemen, a tidal wave of steel, against Caesar's tiny 1,000. That is a 7-1 advantage. It should have been a slaughter.
But, and this is a huge but, Caesar had an ace up his sleeve. His soldiers, they were the hardened veterans of the incredibly brutal Gallic Wars. These guys were disciplined, fiercely loyal, and maybe the best fighting force on the planet. Pompey's army was huge for sure, but a lot of them were newer recruits without that same experience. So this was the ultimate showdown, pure numbers versus pure quality. Now, both of these guys were brilliant commanders, and they both had a plan to win. But their strategies couldn't have been more different. They really showed you the different kinds of armies they were leading.
Pompey's plan was pretty straightforward, direct. It was all built around his biggest advantage. He was going to unleash those thousands of horsemen on Caesar's weaker right flank, completely shatter it, and then just roll up Caesar's famous legions from the side and back. Solid, textbook plan.
And this was the million-dollar question, right? Everybody on that battlefield, especially Pompey's generals who were super confident, they all thought Caesar had no answer to this. How could his little group of 1,000 horsemen possibly stop that charge? Well, here's the thing. Caesar wasn't planning on using his cavalry to stop it. He had a brilliant and totally secret idea. Okay, this is where it all gets really, really exciting. This is where tactical genius just flips the script on history. What happens next is the kind of thing they tell stories about for thousands of years.
So the horns blow and the battle is on. And just as everyone expected, Pompey's cavalry surges forward. It's this massive, ground-shaking charge, and they easily start pushing back Caesar's smaller cavalry force. To anyone watching, it looked like Pompey's plan was working like a charm. Caesar's flank was about to get totally crushed.
But then, something weird happens. Caesar's cavalry, they don't just break and run away in a panic. No, they pull back in a very disciplined, orderly way. It was a fake retreat. They were baiting the hook, drawing Pompey's overeager horsemen in closer and closer, right into the jaws of a trap.
And what was the trap? Well, this was Caesar's secret weapon, his absolute master stroke. Before the battle even started, he had personally handpicked some of his toughest, most elite veteran soldiers from his reserves. He hid them behind his own cavalry, creating a secret fourth line of infantry that Pompey had no idea was even there. So just as Pompey's cavalry is thinking they're about to win the day, bam! This hidden line of infantry springs the trap. They charge forward, and they do something absolutely shocking. They were told not to throw their heavy spears. Instead, they were to use them like pikes, thrusting them upwards, aiming directly for the faces of the riders and their horses. The effect was just devastating. You have to imagine the pure shock and brutality of it. Cavalry are not meant to fight disciplined infantry head-on like this, especially now when spears are coming at their faces. These elite Roman nobles, they panicked. The whole charge just dissolved into chaos. They turned and fled the battlefield, leaving Pompey's main army completely exposed.
And with that one move, the battle was basically over.
Caesar's secret fourth line then turned and smashed into the now exposed side of Pompey's legions. At the same time, Caesar sent in his fresh reserves to hit the front line. Pompey's army just collapsed.
And the results? Well, the numbers that Caesar reported are just mind-boggling. He claimed he lost only about 200 of his veteran soldiers. Pompey? He lost around 15,000 and had another 24,000 captured. It was an unbelievably one-sided victory.
And what about Pompey the Great? Well, seeing his cavalry get routed and his legions breaking, he just lost the will to fight. He fled the battle, eventually making his way to Egypt, probably hoping to find safety. But instead, the advisors to the Egyptian king had him killed, thinking it would get them on Caesar's good side. A really tragic end for one of Rome's greatest generals.
And what did Caesar do with those 24,000 enemy soldiers who surrendered? This is where you see his political brilliance shine. He pardoned them, all of them. By showing mercy instead of cruelty, he turned enemies into supporters, which was a critical move to unite the Roman world under his control.
So why are we still talking about this one battle from over 2,000 years ago? Because it was so much more than just a clash of armies. This battle was the death knell for an entire way of life.
I mean, the legacy here is huge. Pharsalus proved that a superior strategy and experienced troops could beat overwhelming numbers any day. But way more important than that, this victory completely shattered the armies that were loyal to the Senate. It was the beginning of the end for the 500-year-old Roman Republic and set the stage for Caesar to take absolute power, which, as you know, eventually led to the age of the Roman Empire.
In the end, Caesar's secret fourth line is this incredible reminder that a single daring idea, executed perfectly, can literally change the world. History doesn't just happen to us, it's made by people making bold choices at critical moments. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?